And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start of their day. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Oh, with the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. In case you didn't know, the FCS National Championship game went to overtime. Are you shocked?
I am shocked.
Did you see how it finished?
No, I did not.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know, we talk about college kickers, right? This is it's like the hashtag college kickers.
Oh, yeah.
Illinois State had what could have been the game-winning field goal 38 yards away, blocked. Which later it's Coach Brock Spack, dude, football dude all the way. Brock Spack. I mean, he was Purdue's D coordinator for a long time. Love that dude. Anyway, he said it was a ball handling issue. It was their sixth kick blocked of the year.
Oh boy!
It was 4th and 1 from the 21. They would decide to kick. Overtime, they score the first touchdown, and they get the freaking extra point blocked.
Oh God!
And then Montana State kicked its extra point after a 4th and 14 touchdown.
What a game.
Crazy stuff, man. Yeah, it was awesome. It was actually, I will say, it was an awesome, the stadium close to full. Both teams had great turnouts, and hopefully Nashville keeps that. That is perfect place for it. Perfect place for it. They did a great job. It was an amazing game. It'll be here next year too, and then it's opened up again. It's been in Frisco, Texas the last 15 years. We should keep it. We should try to keep it. It was really cool.
Is Colt Anderson coaching special teams for Illinois State?
God. Oh man. I mean, even he'd be offended. He'd be like, dude, I mean, even I know that.
I showed up to the NFL and I just thought the players knew what they were doing. Just thought they could block. Thought they knew.
Well, they said the Spack, who again love Brock Spack. Brock Spack,
what a stash awesome. This guy has. My goodness.
Oh heck yeah, Brock Spack, man, dude. But he said they switched kickers this year because of the issue of like holding, because the kicker lifted the ball better. And I'm like,
apparently not.
Different holder? Like what? I don't know. Crazy stuff.
That is wild. Ian Safar, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, college kicking can be quite the adventure sometimes, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, so can NFL kicking lately.
Apparently. Yeah, that's a solid point.
My goodness.
According to the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
But yeah, some missed kicks there, some missed kicks yesterday. I didn't see any of it. I was sports free last night, actually.
Same.
Didn't really see much going on. I checked some scores here and there, some hockey scores, but didn't really watch too much. Hung out with the fam, got the dog groomed, all that kind of fun stuff.
Ian's been all over the place this morning too.
I was worried. Yeah, we're dealing with some. I don't exactly know what you call them around here.
I came in and Ian was on the floor. It's never a good sign.
Under the desk in here, digging around. I'm asking Joe, "Hey, can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me." It's like one of those days, just working out the hamsters back here. But
Blink
we're
twice.
all good. Yeah.
So it's not Robbie's microphone.
No, the microphone's in great shape.
No, we actually had someone come
Awesome.
in. Engineer David came in yesterday, gave it a look over. He's like, "Oh, I'm here for the microphone." Oh, it looks like it's pretty good right now. Like, okay, thank you. And that was that.
We were doing the show still.
That's true.
So I'm kind of disappointed because in the press box, that you guys were sports free. In the press box, we were streaming. Nebraska basketball at Ohio State. I mean, come on, guys.
Excited about that.
Big.
Can't believe I didn't watch it.
Nebraska ball's undefeated, baby.
Cannot believe I didn't watch it.
So Nebraska, good in basketball. Indiana, good in football.
Exactly.
What is going on?
Yeah, what's happening?
What's up with this bizarro world?
It is. I mean, to be fair, Indiana in basketball has actually been pretty freaking blah for
that's true
about 30 years now. Yeah. But yes, it is wild. Nebraska, I'm not sure if they're the only Power 4 team. It's a very, very small number, if not only, that has never won an NCAA tournament game. This year, that ends.
Oh, you're
Mark
calling
my
it
words
right now, huh? Right now.
Calling it. Calling my shot.
Okay.
There we go. You heard it here first. You write it down, people of Nashville.
They have a center. You know, we love Brock's back. They have
Oh,
a
yeah.
center named Rink Mast. He's awesome. Rink Mast hits threes.
Jeez.
Great player.
But who is also, I believe, 24 years old. Does anybody in college athletics, is there anybody in college athletics under the age of 19, 20 anymore? Or is everybody like 26?
Yeah, well, the 18, 19, they're in the the FCS.
Yeah.
You know, they're in the minors.
Yeah, they just got to get there.
Yeah.
Put their time in. Yeah. Oh, man. We got a lot to get into. So we do have some college football to get into a little bit later in the show today. Vol Twitter having some fun right now with a quarterback that nobody really knows what's happening with yet. We will get into that a little bit later in the show. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean will be with us at 7 o'clock. We'll get into the Titans coaching search and a whole lot more with him. So looking forward to that. And Joe, that's where we'll start. So I'm keeping track of names that I have seen that have been connected to the Titans to this point. And I think this is the list, although it got to a point yesterday where I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep up with it. So this is what I have written down here as reports that I've seen that have been connected to the Tennessee Titans in terms of their request to interview coaching candidates. We already knew about Matt Nagy. That was out during the middle of our show yesterday. So Nagy, Spagnuolo from Kansas City, add him to the list too. So just get both coordinators from Kansas City on the list. Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, Vance Joseph, Raheem Morris, who was just let go by the Atlanta Falcons, Kevin Stefanski, Cliff Kingsbury. Those are the names that I've seen so far to this point. I mean, I guess, Joe, I don't know that any of those are super surprising. I don't know that I expected Raheem Morris to get an interview from the Tennessee Titans, but apparently he's going to. So what do you make of the list of names that we have seen in connection to the Tennessee Titans to this point?
Well, I am surprised by some of those. I'm surprised. Raheem Morris, I don't know everything that went on in Atlanta, but I do know that they've got a quick trigger finger, and there are definitely excuses you could make for him for the last 2 years. They also just won 4 games in a row. Look, they were out of it when they did, and it was the backup quarterback, Captain Kirk, who came in and led them to that. But I think that also could potentially kind of speak to Michael Penix. I mean, maybe that wasn't a good pick. I mean, we'll see. I think the biggest issue with the Michael Penix Jr. pick, when it happened, I think I said at times, that dude has had so many injuries in his college career. It's such a risk. But I mean, I think I think that one's kind of a no-brainer. Spagnuolo really surprised me. But then again, you're like, why would you be surprised by a Kansas City Chiefs coach getting an interview? I mean, how about a few more position coaches from the Kansas City Chiefs? Lou Anarumo, it's interesting. I mean, it's early, and so it's not a full picture, but more defensive guys. I think it's definitely fair to say, at least right now, that they're not confined to, we must have an offensive guy. And I never thought they would be, but it's a lot of defensive guys.
It's a lot of defensive guys. It is, and some of the offensive guys, like Kingsbury is very interesting to me. We've talked about him. Obviously last year, he and that entire operation did a really good job with Jaden Daniels coming in as a rookie. They made the NFC Championship game, all those things. It's been such a bad year for them from the standpoint, Jaden Daniels has been hurt basically the whole year. So what does that mean for the job that they've done? Cliff Kingsbury, to me, Joe, he's been a head coach in the NFL in Arizona. He was also a head coach in college, and I don't think was all that great in either stop. That's the weird thing to me. It's not like he was a great head coach in college and then it just didn't work out in the NFL. He was kind of just like a meh head coach in college and not very good in the NFL. So, I mean, we've looked at these betting odds lists for Titans head coach, and he's always been like second or third on the list. And I've always been trying to like scratch my head and figure out why that's the case. I'm like, Kingsbury to me, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but he screams to me like good coordinator. I don't know if you want that guy as your head coach. I mean, we've talked about that some of these guys who have been head coaches in the NFL before are going to go on and be successful head coaches again moving forward here. And some of them aren't. Some of them are just, it's going to become pretty clear that they need to be coordinators in the league. So I guess I'm not surprised that he got interviewed. I don't really get the appeal for him if I'm the Titans. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting with him because I also think it's like then there's a serious criticism this year for him too. When it's like, I mean, what do you guys expect if Jaden, all due respect to Marcus Mariota, who's not the worst quarterback of all time, unlike Robby believes, but I mean, Jaden Daniels didn't play a lot of this year, and it's like all of a sudden Kingsbury's an idiot again. Dan Quinn. It's like it's both sides of this. It's like, yeah, I agree. I would be wary of Kingsbury. I think that he may just be better as a coordinator, and a lot of people like that. Of course, a guy in New England who, Vrabel may luck out and just keep Josh McDaniels for as long as he wants him because no one's going to dip into that pool again. I think Kingsbury, I'm not surprised that Kingsbury would get another look, but I'm with you. I'd be very wary of it. I also think he is a good coordinator, and I think you have to give him credit for like last year.
Sure.
Jaden Daniels, again, I think he's a special talent, but he obviously did a good job last year. Yeah, but I agree. It's like, I guess sometimes, people can learn and they can get better second and third stop. And I will say on the meh thing with Texas Tech, before they were able to just go, time and a half pay for anyone they wanted to go get, and apparently $5 million for Brendan Sorsby, by the way, that was a tough place to get enough dudes to compete with a lot of the teams that you're playing on a regular basis.
I agree, but I mean, he was 35-40. I mean, they had a losing record at Texas Tech, so it's not like he was like some barely over 500 coach. Even like he's not very good. Like I think his best year was 8-5 when he first got hired, and then it progressively got worse. So like that's the thing with me to him. Like I've never really understood the fascination with him being a head coach. I mean, clearly, I think he's a good coordinator. He'll probably at some point get another opportunity to be a head coach. I mean, he's still a young guy, but like let me put it to you this way. If I'm the Titans, he wouldn't be getting the opportunity with me. That'd be down the road somewhere else for somebody else. It would not be with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked much about him.
No.
I think with good reason. I mean, I think there's like, I would never rule out him learning and, figuring it out and being better, but you don't necessarily want to be like okay, let's find out because that's the thing. The unknown is undefeated, as we know. So someone like a Brian Callahan last time around looks the part, has all the, has the pedigree, and also there's nothing to tell you that it's not going to work out, unlike with Kingsbury now and people like that.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More reaction to the coaching interview names that have been thrown out there in connection to the Tennessee Titans. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking more of your reaction to some names that have been connected to the Tennessee Titans as it relates to their head coaching vacancy. We've gone through some of those. Cliff Kingsbury has been thrown out there. Steve Spagnuolo out from the Kansas City Chiefs. Lou Anarumo from the Colts as their defensive coordinator. Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris. And then, of course, Joe, there's Kevin Stefanski, and he is expected to speak with the Titans at some point. I would imagine that Stefanski will be speaking with several teams, and he was let go by the Browns as our show was going on yesterday. And we'll get into some more head coaching openings that are now out there here in just a few minutes in the aftermath of Black Monday yesterday. But Stefanski, it's interesting. I've watched Titans fans kind of discuss him over the last day, Joe, now that the head coaching search is here. And what I've noticed is there's some pretty all over the map opinions when it comes to the Stefanski part of this. Some people think that would be an awesome hire and that the Titans would be crazy to not try to bring in Kevin Stefanski, and that he's far and away at the moment of people that we know who are available, he's far and away the best option. I've seen a lot of that. I have also seen some people that think, what in the world has Kevin Stefanski accomplished in Cleveland, and why would the Titans think that he would be the head coach when he couldn't even make it work with the Browns this last time out? So there are some people that absolutely hate the idea of Kevin Stefanski. There are some people who think the Titans would be insane for targeting anybody else other than Kevin Stefanski, from what I've seen based on this coaching search. So, Joe, as you've kind of sifted through it and you've seen who the Titans are now connected with, and we'll see when more names, I'm sure, will come out and be in connection with this job, what do you make of the Kevin Stefanski part of it and the widespread reaction that I've seen that's kind of all over the place from Titans fans?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's crazy. Anybody who's like, no, thank you, sir, move on. I think is crazy. But I'm not on board with drop everything. No one else matters. Of course, you're going to hire him. You mentioned yesterday what he's been coach of the year twice.
Yep.
I mean, you go through the list of coach of the year. There's some coaches you wouldn't hire now. I mean, and I'm not saying he's one of them, but I'm just saying that doesn't always tell the story. I think he has done, because look, sometimes a coach, and especially, I think sometimes this is a schematic thing even, but like a coach 5 years ago, 10 years ago, was on the cutting edge of something then, and it hasn't kept up now. And I'm not saying that's the case with them. I'm just saying things change. I think he's handled the situation well there, and I think he's a good coach. Really tough, quarterback stuff that has happened there. And if it's true that he wasn't really the driving force behind Deshaun Watson, I have even more sympathy for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you absolutely take it seriously. I mean, of these candidates that we've listed, there's a lot more proof of concept of this guy knowing what he's doing, right, than a lot of these names that we're listing. So I think that has to be taken seriously. I guess I can see some people looking at him and even like listening to him being like, gosh, he just reminds me too much of Brian Callahan. He's like a Brian Callahan who has actually, won in this league. But that's the thing. He has actually won in this league. So he'd be close to the top of the list for me right now. I'm also not abandoning everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there that I'm abandoning everything else for. And by the way, I mean, we haven't seen John Harbaugh get fired by the Ravens, so he's still at the moment employed by the Ravens. And until that, I said it yesterday, until that changes, like I'll have to see that to believe it, I think, at this point. So we'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, I mean, Stefanski out there. I mean, if you're looking for coach of the year, man, Titans got a couple of them. Got Stefanski available. Nagy's available out there. If you're looking for an NFL coach of the year, I mean, I guess technically Dayball's out there if you want that. He's coach of the year in 2022. Plenty of options for you, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Someone brought up the point, when we talk about these guys, Jason White Bluff, bringing up the point, like Bobby Slowick is another example. Top head coach candidate, all of a sudden he gets fired.
Yeah.
And he's sort of just, relegated to being a passing game coordinator. It's like there's just a lot of guys like that who, and I think as time goes on, probably we're going to see like more failures on that front. I mean, I think that's kind of shifted a little bit, and Brian Callahan is part of that. Shifted a little bit more that way of it. It felt like for a while it was like you'd fall all over yourself to get the play calling hot shot OC head coach. But again, Stefanski, the difference between him and a lot of these guys is he's been an effective CEO. He's been an effective CEO. I don't know. You tell me, has he been straight up the play caller the whole time? I think there's been a little bit of.
I think there's been some fluctuation in that.
Some fluctuation in there a little bit, but that's kind of part of the deal. I mean, when things go poorly, just like here, even though we said, well, gee, if you're going to give up play calling, Brian Callahan, then really what is the point?
I mean, it says he gave up play calling duties this year.
This year.
For the second consecutive season to OC, it just says Reese, R-E-E-S.
Oh, Tommy Reese. Yeah, Tommy Reese. Who's another guy who, I guess a little bit more in the college game is a guy that a lot of people are talking about and then that's another thing too. It's like sometimes, again, I don't think that's the case with them because again, they've had that success previously, but like you look at some of these places that have lost their OCs that have suffered for it. Detroit. Oh, here. Lions. Shout out to the Lions. No playoffs, but I'm drinking out of your mug. Sometimes head coaches can be exposed, as Dan Campbell has been a little bit this year. All due respect.
Yeah, so taking away the names that we've seen so far, is there anything that you draw from that if you're a Titans fans in terms of the type of coach that the Titans are looking for? Or is it so all over the map at this point that you think the wide net, as we've talked about, is being cast by the Tennessee Titans?
Well, the first two names I think were Nagy and
Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo. So it's like, I'm gonna get my guys in here, and then you put whoever else on the list you want to put on the list. I don't care. Ryan.
Can Andy interview for the job?
Len Dawson, are you available? Ryan in Florida said Morrison. He said Morrison Day are getting interviewed because of the rule. I assume you mean the Rooney rule. I don't know who Day is. Who am I missing? Who's Day?
I don't know who Day is.
Maybe you mean Vance. And that's the thing. I will say this. First of all, I think Raheem Morris is a legitimate candidate to interview for this job. I would also say, it's you hope the Titans don't sit there and just stop at two black guys and then you satisfied the Rooney rule and move on. To me, if you're looking at all these defensive coordinators, go back to what TD said last week. How do you not at least try to get an interview with Brian Flores?
You would think.
I mean, the guy's an absurdly good D coordinator. It did not work out in Miami. There's the whole NFL thing with him, which I get. And I don't know how much that complicates things, but to me, I mean, he's in the league as a D coordinator, so he's in the league, right? I mean, that would be disappointing to me, especially in light of all these defensive guys, that if they don't at least talk to him.
No, I agree. Like I've said this weeks ago that he would be, if not at the top of the list, toward the top of the list, the guys I'd want to hire. Like I think he's a brilliant defensive guy. And I know that when you've got a quarterback in Cam Ward that they've got, the defensive guy for some people in this fan base would not be the way to go. Like I think Flores is a darn good football coach. And I understand there's all this other stuff going on with him, so it's probably not going to happen. We've talked with Kuharski about that before, like the NFL stuff, and the suit there does kind of, complicate things here. But I think he is really, really good at what he does. And I am interested to see if it's the Titans or otherwise, if somebody hires him to be a head coach this offseason. I think he'll be a head coach in the league at some point again. Will it be this offseason?
And by the way, my number one candidate as a defensive guy who now obviously they're in the playoffs and all that stuff. I'm trying to remember the timing on that then. So can you not still, though, put in a request? Yeah, because they can still do interviews. But I guess it's a little bit later, right? It's after the first week. Is that what it is?
Didn't they recently switch that? I think
they changed something with that. But that's another no-brainer. Like Saleh and Flores have to be interviewed, right?
I mean, yeah, I would think so. I would think that's got to be the case. I mean, the thing with Flores is they didn't make the playoffs, so I mean, you could get after him right now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Like if we don't hear about that today, that's a head scratcher to me. I mean, who is a more? And again, I think he is a leader. Yeah, I know Miami didn't go well, but it's some weird crap when your owner's coming to you as a coach and asking you to tank. Dude, that's messed up, man. And it's just like like we talk about Stefanski and all the crap going on with their ownership.
Yeah.
How do you not give him a pass on that? I don't understand it.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More your thoughts on potential coaching candidates for the Titans, plus some more moves made in the NFL yesterday and some more head coaching openings that are out there. We will get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
It's early, but there's been a lot of activity for Kevin Stefanski, and I would imagine he can interview for all of the jobs that are going to be available, and will have that opportunity to do so. He's an offensive coach in a year where there doesn't seem to be many young offensive coaches being on the market, ones that are being coveted after. There's no Ben Johnson. There's no Mike Vrabel this year. It is a dearth of names as far as big ones go. Clint Kubiak would be the next name up in Seattle, but I believe Kevin Stefanski will get to interview at all these spots, and most likely will have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. Another name that's not being mentioned as much is Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, who I've had multiple teams mentioned to me. Hafley, of course, was the coach at Boston College for 3 years, so he has head coaching experience in the college level and has now been the coordinator in Green Bay, and they were having a wonderful season before some of these injuries, including Micah Parsons. Season's not done, but I would keep an eye on Jeff Hafley to get several interview opportunities.
That's Peter Schrager from ESPN discussing Kevin Stefanski, Jeff Hafley, among other things. Taking your thoughts on head coaching search for the Tennessee Titans, the names that have been connected, and Joe, some other jobs that are now open as well. So you've got, obviously, the Titans are open. The Raiders made it official yesterday. Pete Carroll is out as head coach after 1 year with the Raiders. Looks like Tom Brady going to be leading the search there, so good to see that, Joe. He can do that Fox job, and now he's leading the search and will be more involved with the Raiders moving forward too. So I know you're excited about that.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Tommy under the microscope here and see if he can figure something out for that bleep show over an organization. But talking on the text line on another kind of a related point to the Brady thing with the Raiders, I really hate this trend. So first of all, Trevor's asking me, like, why would Raheem Morris be legit? He has a bad record as a coach. He's 37-56. And again, for people who remember, he was at the Bucs a long time ago. Very young candidate. He actually had a 10-6 year sandwich in between two like really bad years. They were bad. That was I don't who the heck was quarterbacking the Bucs back then. I mean, obviously that was a few years before Brady got there and turned things around. But look, I think just like Arthur Smith in Atlanta, I didn't think he was bad. Outside looking in, maybe there are issues I don't know about. But to me, it's QB issues in Atlanta. So yeah, I think Raheem Morris is a legit candidate for a coach. Now, what I think will happen with him is he'll be somebody's DC next year.
Yeah,
I mean that's what's going to probably happen. But is he a legit candidate? Yeah, like people talk about the Rooney Rule. Like when Eddie George gets a random interview with the Bears a few years ago, like that's like, hey guys, we got to satisfy the Rooney Rule, right?
Right.
I mean, that's, to me, Raheem Morris is someone that you should take seriously as a head coaching candidate, even coming off that situation. But the Brady thing, I mean, that makes me think of like this crap with Matt Ryan. Speaking of the Falcons, this crap with Matt Ryan is just like, it's just wild to me. Like, so first of all, I know that I don't think Roger Goodell can do something and be like, make some rule or whatever, where it's like, if you're going to be announcing and you're going to be, you're going to be sort of touching all the teams in a way from a media perspective that you can't then actually have a vested interest in one of the teams. I mean, I hate the idea. You shouldn't. No team should allow it, right? I mean, or everybody else should ice that, and we've seen some of that with Brady. But why is Matt Ryan all of a sudden? I know he's a great quarterback. Yeah, he was the MVP 10 years ago. All of a sudden, he's just like in charge of everything in your organization without ever doing anything other than playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I have no doubt Matt Ryan's probably a smart guy, and I'm sure that when you're a quarterback,
one of the all-time great leaders.
Yeah, like when you're a quarterback in the league for that long, then I assume that there's a level of conversation that he's probably had throughout the latter part of his career in Atlanta about player personnel and dealing with all that. Like, I'm sure all that's happened. But again, like, to go from not really involved in the football operation post-playing days to now apparently going to be in charge of the whole thing is very interesting to me. I mean, you've got that job that's open for a head coach. So Atlanta, the Giants are open. Of course, the Titans are open. The Raiders, the Browns, and the Cardinals, who fired Jonathan Gannon yesterday. So I think you got 6 head coaching openings at the moment. And it is kind of interesting to try to, figure out in that mess there, like where exactly do the Titans fit in on that. Like I was listening to Unsportsmanlike before we came on. I think Michelle Smallman came out with her list and had the Titans at number 3, I think, on that list. Or maybe it was number 2. Yeah, number 2 on the list. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder there. But like, I've seen some people talking about how good of a job Atlanta could be, And it's like, well, maybe, but they've got, I mean, I understand they play in the NFC South, but they do have, Matt Ryan coming in, who's never really done anything like this before. And I have no idea if Michael Penix Jr. is any good or not. I mean, he can't stay healthy. He just had another knee injury. You've got Kirk as your backup right now. I have no idea what quarterback is going to look like for the Atlanta Falcons moving forward. So these jobs that are open, it's really, I think you could really, depending on the eye of the beholder, like I've seen people think the Raiders job is the best job because you get the number 1 overall pick, you got Brock Bowers, and you have Ashton Genty. Like those are pretty good building blocks there. And then it's, the Raiders.
Yeah, and it's the Raiders, and now they're one great player. I mean, might be now. Look, maybe it makes sense to move him. They've been completely against moving Max Crosby. Now it looks like, I guess Brady has finally figured out how to piss him off enough to, to have him want to get the heck out of there. But I'd be very wary of that. And the Falcons, all these things that are happening, including this whole idea with Matt Ryan, I'd be really wary of that with ownership. And yeah, Penix, not sure where that's going. I think that they may be in the market for a QB soon. They do have some good young players. They have Fontenot has made some good picks. They have some good, and Pierce, I think, is for all of the issues there, going to end up being a guy who produces in this league. But still, the concern at the top and at quarterback, I don't think that's a necessarily all that attractive a job.
Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, Robby? What's up, Joe?
What's up, Mark?
Hey, Joe, I'm about to take you to school this morning, man. The quarterback for the Tampa Bay Bucks was Josh Freeman, Joe. I don't know how you forgot that when Raheem Morgan was there, it was Josh Freeman. Yeah, Joe, hire me, man.
Good call.
Hire me,
Good
Joe.
call.
Yeah, good call. But
I remember now.
Joe. Oh, yeah, Joe, you got to give my Raiders some respect now. I mean, we got the number 1 pick. We got rid of Pete. Granddaddy got to go. Gonna get us a good young coach in there. Hopefully it's a Joe Brady or Clint Kubiak or somebody like that. We got Tom Brady running the show, so we may be in good hands now, Joe. I'm looking for. We may get Matt LaFleur, Robby's guy. Robby wants him gone in Green Bay.
I think
you
he's
never
about to get
know,
an
man.
extension.
That's good, Robby, because Matt LaFleur, Robby is one of the top 2-3 play callers in football. You got to keep him anyway. I was just throwing that at you, but these group of coaches that the Titans are bringing in, Joe, none of them would be considered for the job, I don't think. It's the next group that you're going to bring in there, the Kubiaks, the Chris Shulers, the Joe Bradys, those guys right there. That's where they're going to pick their next head coach at. These guys, they're getting out the way now. Spagnuolo, no. Arthur Smith, no. And I know what you're saying about Brian Flores. Joe, I think he could be a good coach too, but Joe, doesn't he still have that lawsuit thing going with the NFL? Yeah, that's gonna blacklist him, Joe. That you know how these owners are about stuff like that. I hate that for Brian Flores because I still think he'd be coaching in Miami if they'd have went on and picked Herbert over a quarterback out of Alabama. Yeah, if he'd have got Herbert, I think Brian Flores would have still been there. But he is a great defensive coordinator. But Raheem Morris, Joe, I think he's just a coordinator. I don't think he's a leader of men. Now he's a good coordinator, but as a head guy, I mean, look what happened down there in Atlanta. That's a good young team he's got down there, Joe. They should have been better than that. I understand Penix got hurt. You had Kirk Cousins come in there and do his thing. But, man, they lost to the Panthers twice. And that's what got him fired, Joe. Had he won at least a split with the Panthers, he had a chance to get into the playoffs. But he lost both those games. And that's why they cleaned house like they did. But, hey, man, y'all have a good day. Joe, you owe me on that now. Remember, Joe, Josh Freeman, man.
Josh Freeman, Kansas State legend. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. All right, see you later, Robby. See you, Joe.
Thanks, Mark.
So we'll see. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we'll see if the next pool of, I would assume that the interview process is going to go a little bit here for the Titans, right? You'll probably see some of those names that Mark just threw out there get interviewed with the Titans at some point when they're eligible.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea that the next wave is. I mean, I think definitely the coach could be out of this way. I mean, I think the favorite probably does make sense to be Nagy. The one thing I'll say about Flores is, and we can talk more about this with PK tomorrow too. It's like, okay, I get all that, but if that's the case, then I mean, he is a D coordinator in the NFL, right? Like he's working in the league,
right?
So I guess Mark is suggesting that the owners just have, this is a collusion moment of okay, but he's not going to get a head coaching job. Is that I think there's a lot of owner collusion. I mean, people seriously were talking about owner collusion about the Shador thing last year. It's like, dude, like people just were just didn't think. I mean, people. I promise you, I would feel very good betting that it was just like people were like, yeah, all the BS is just not worth it. He's not that good of a talent to overcome what happened during the process. It's not the owner saying like, guys, let's make a statement. I mean, that's just, and I don't buy that in this situation either. If these people can beat each other, if they think they can get an edge on each other, they will do it.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Some news on the Cam Ward front from yesterday. A question we've got on the text line about another player on the Titans roster that had an interesting moment yesterday. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, the game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, the game. We'll have Gentry Estes from the Tennessean with us here at 7 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans head coaching search and a whole lot more. Looking forward to that coming up here in just a few minutes. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, some good news on the Cam Ward front with his shoulder injury. There is no surgery that is expected with Cam Ward here. So we talked about that yesterday. The idea that if you got an opportunity for your quarterback at the end of the year that may have to be dealing with surgery heading into the offseason. That's not good. It does not look like that is the case, and it looks like the shoulder injury that Ward is dealing with will not require surgery. So, Joe, at least some good news on that front. And, Cam Ward spoke, says he doesn't really anticipate that big of a change to his offseason plans here. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not. But what did you make of the news of Cam Ward with no surgery and how that impacts the offseason ahead for him?
No, that's really good news. Now it's good news, but then it's also like you hate to think of the idea of at some point being like, man, maybe you should have had the surgery. The timeline's way better if you don't have it. If you have the surgery, then I think we're talking about the Titans hoping to have Cam Ward for the start of camp. And really, like, that surgery technically is supposed to be a 6 to 9 month recovery. Now, I wouldn't expect that. I would expect it to be right at 6 in this day and age, for a pro athlete. But technically, it has been that much in the past. And again, you'd be bumping right up against training camp. So not having the surgery, being able to let it heal with rest, that's going to give him a lot more time to do things in the off season. It's going to take away the uncertainty about him for camp, or even, I would think, pretty good chance, for the spring stuff, or a lot of the spring stuff. That's good. But again, it's just like, I'm pretending I know anything medically is, I'm not Dr. David Chow, Twitter doctor, or Dr. Nick Riviera from The Simpsons. But it seems like sometimes these things happen, and it's like, okay, let's try to go without surgery, and then eventually you need it. You hope that's not the case here.
Yeah, for sure.
But that he's more vulnerable once he gets to actually being hit next year because he didn't have the surgery.
Yep. Hopefully a full recovery in the off season and can get in some of that work that we've talked about that it's going to be important for him. We got asked about this on the text line. I saw Kuharski tweet this yesterday. So apparently L'Jarius Sneed in the locker room, Joe, said that he would be basically right back to come talk to the media, and then he disappeared. So just kind of a fitting end if that's the end of the L'Jarius Sneed era in Nashville, which I expected it will be. This was the tweet from PK. L'Jarius Sneed was in the locker room, said he'd be back for us to talk. Disappeared. That's what PK said. So there you go. A nice fitting end to the L'Jarius Sneed era in Tennessee, Joe.
Pretty hilarious. And, in a way, I can kind of tip my cap to that. Also, in a way, it's like, it's just such a lack of professionalism to do that. And I actually really hope that wherever he emerges, that PK is his own boss, so he sets his own travel budget. And I understand, next year you gotta, I don't know where all they're going off the top of my head. You gotta budget all that. But I really hope that PK sets aside a few bucks wherever Sneed is and just shows up there. You said you were coming back, L'Jarius, and just like pops out like in the locker room somewhere, just like or like from behind a tree and just startles him.
You never came back, so I came to you. Here we are.
Exactly. All right, you ready now, L'Jarius? It's funny. It's also like, come, are you serious?
It's 0% surprising. Zero.
Yeah. But like, whatever. I don't know what's going to become of, I think Sneed, obviously, with the knee stuff and everything. I imagine he'll somewhat, he could possibly have a little bit more left on the field. Turns out to be just a brutal,
horrific
move for the Titans. But that's just, a guy who's that prominent player in this league, and it's not like he was treated unfairly by anybody, to not be able to just, like be just a pro for 5 minutes is, it's half funny and half pathetic.
Yep, I totally agree. But a very fitting end to the way that look, I guess I shouldn't say that, Joe. I guess we're not sure that it's the end. I mean, they do need a ton of corners next year, so maybe Borgonzi the whole time. Like, yeah, we're going to bring back Snead. Get Snead back in there, starting cornerback for us next year.
Now we got a quarterback, but we still need a lot of cornerbacks. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think it's going to happen.
I think Borgonzi, when he was at his last, I was like, "Whew, good job, guys! Look at
Get
what
him
we
out of
got
here
for Snead."
Yeah.
And then it's like, I guess I'll take this job, but my gosh, I've got to have more Snead. Yeah. Now I'll be interested to see what. I mean, he'll emerge somewhere. Someone's going to hope, like, hey, if he's got anything left in that leg, he can be, And frankly, like the Titans could use anything from any corner who can play next year, but still, they're going to clean the slate.
By the way, somebody asking us about Mike McCarthy and whether or not there's been any sort of buzz about him. I've not seen anything to this point, Joe, in like direct connection with the Titans. I have seen, Pelissero, I think, hopped on the NFL Network yesterday and said that he is hearing that McCarthy will be a serious candidate for several jobs. I mean, there was no real specifics to it. And I think Jordan Raanan, who covers the Giants, have put it out there that he expects McCarthy to be interviewed by the Giants. So we'll see if and when there's any sort of chatter on the Mike McCarthy Titans front. But, I mean, obviously he's not employed right now, so there's no permission that anybody needs to go talk to him. You can just talk to him.
Well, that's good to know, because I was starting to wonder, like, what am I missing here, right? Again, it does feel like with the Titans, there's just a lack of interest. But I was like, is he interested? Like you said, he has said he is, but there hasn't been much talk. So at least the Giants are getting in there. Maybe he can be a rival, NFC East rival of the Cowboys.
Maybe so.
But it just doesn't feel like why wouldn't he have already been mentioned here?
I don't know. I mean, look, for all I know, they could have talked to Mike McCarthy a month ago. Could have been talking to him the whole time. Mike, we're just going to go through the process with everybody else. You're our guy.
Could be. That'd be quite a story.
Yes, it would. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean will be with us coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and welcome in our friend Gentry Estes to the program from the Tennessean. Gentry, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, guys. Good morning. Quick question for Joe to start. I just saw this. What's up with a former Michigan State player getting kicked out of the game last night? Pretty exciting for a 29-point win.
Well, Gentry, it would be exciting to get Joe's answer to this if he could get back on time for the segment starting. But right now, he's not. He's not back on time. We'll have to get his thoughts on that here in just a second. He's been doing radio in this program for like almost 6 years and can't figure out how long the break is, apparently.
Well, do you know what I'm talking about, Robby?
I don't.
Interesting video.
I have to go watch it. Although he's Mr. Michigan State, so I can't wait to get his thoughts on this. What did you make? You were at the FCS title game last night, weren't you? What a game.
No, you know what? I was going to go, and that was one of those that sounded a lot easier to get to about a week ago than when time came to do it. But I did watch it. It was a heck of a game. It really was. They went to overtime, first overtime game ever for an FCS championship game. Comes down to the last extra point. It's really a good show for Vanderbilt. It's a good crowd at that game, too.
Yeah, that's it. The crowd was good, and what a dramatic game that it was. So, Gentry, the names are out there. So is there anybody that really has stuck out to you yet in terms of the names that have been connected to the Titans? We saw a lot of them yesterday. Spagnuolo, Vance Joseph, Kevin Stefanski obviously is out there now. Anybody, a couple of guys that really stand out to you that you are really intrigued by when it comes to the Titans?
I mean, I'm intrigued by the guys that we didn't know until yesterday were going to be available. You hadn't really thought too much about Raheem Morris, Stefanski, guys like that. So we'll see. I feel like, when we went through this with the Titans a couple of years ago, it seemed like there were a lot of up-and-coming type coaches, guys who hadn't been head coaches before, kind of coordinators with a lot of buzz about them. The focus this time seems to be on more veteran coaches and even the guys who aren't head coaches or older and been around the league a long time. So you get the sense that they're chasing experience a little more with this hire, which would make some sense given what happened with Brian Callahan. As far as the favorite, I mean, it's got to be Matt Nagy. I've kind of thought that all along. Joe's outlet, the Athletic, did a good story on Nagy here the last couple of weeks, and Borgonzi was name dropped in there for their relationship together in Kansas City. So at this point, I think it would be a surprise if it's not him. I think you kind of have to see it that way, but you never know.
Well, if that's the case, Gentry, I think, and we've talked about this. We talked about this yesterday on the show, and we've heard it from listeners. Going back probably a couple of weeks, it would feel like, just basically the search was all a facade anyway, and he went and hired his buddy whose resume he helped, whose interview skills or whatever he helped get ready to get this job. I know ultimately, I don't believe that Mike Borgonzi would just say, oh yeah, this is a guy, I'm not going to have an open mind about other things, but if that is the case, how prevailing a sentiment do you think that'll be?
Yeah, and I think because of that, I think we're going to learn a good bit about Borgonzi through all this, because we've seen it both ways, right, with the Titans. I think one of the big knocks on Vrabel, and one of the things that was part of his undoing in Tennessee, was the fact that he was so reluctant to bring in new voices to his staff, that he kept always people from his own circle. And I think you saw a team that got a little stale because of it. But the flip side to that, I think, too, Chad Brinker last year, a lot of people looked at the GM candidate from Green Bay that he was friends with. And everybody thought that's who that was going to be. And it turns out it wasn't. And he ended up with Borgonzi. So I think at this point, Borgonzi looks like a pretty good hire. So is he going to do that? And there isn't really a right or wrong answer. Look, Matt Nagy, I do think that would be a prevailing sentiment if he's the coach for the Titans. But I think when you look back, he is a very polarizing topic in the NFL and has been for a long time for the job he did in Chicago, because the Bears fans were so critical of him by the time he left. And you look back, and the guy had a winning record there. I mean, his first year there was pretty good. He's talking about you had Mitch Trubisky. So I'm not sure that would be a bad hire, even though there'd be a lot of people out there saying that it was.
So some good news on the Cam Ward front yesterday, Gentry, in terms of no surgery, it looks like, for Cam Ward this offseason. But, obviously dealing with a shoulder injury. He's been healthy all year, and we've talked with you and others before about the work that's in front of him this offseason to improve the footwork, improve the mechanics, improve ultimately the accuracy coming back next year. So what's your concern level with this injury in terms of maybe halting some of that progress that I think we would all agree needs to be made from him this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's concerning, clearly. Regardless of the timetable or having surgery, not having surgery, I mean, the guy's not going to be, slinging footballs around for a while. And that's not what you want for your rookie quarterback who clearly had some issues to work through mechanically, accuracy-wise, being on same page with receivers, that kind of thing. You'd like for him to be out there throwing. That said, seemed like good news yesterday, kind of a better case scenario than what we were originally hearing it from Jacksonville when the injury first occurred. It's a good thing that they don't look at it right away and say, yes, he needs surgery. But, look, I know Will Levis struggled with a shoulder for a long time before deciding to have surgery. And this is one of those injuries that you hope it heals the way they think it will, because if it doesn't, then what? And then if you're sitting here having to have surgery in May or whatever, well, now you're affecting the season. So while I do think it's good news, you just have to hope that rest and recuperation and whatever else they prescribe for Cam Ward here in the next few months works the way it should, and then he's okay for camp. But either way, I think we need to settle in for a pretty long off season of, drip reports about his shoulder, and the Titans just have to hope they're positive.
Yeah, and then I agree. It's you brace for every time he gets hit on that thing. Not that you wouldn't before, but if you have it surgically repaired, then it's sort of like, okay, you're missing a lot of time in the offseason, but at least you took care of it. Without pretending to be any kind of medical expert. I don't know. Neither way sounds great, but this is definitely going to be something to watch. Also, Gentry, QB2, something to watch. After Brandon Allen the other day, I guess give him a little grace since he didn't come close to a whiff of a snap before the last game. But they've got to get better there, right? There is a certain former second-round pick who's under contract. But what do you think? How do you think that all shakes out behind Cam Ward at quarterback?
He's still on the team. Levis is still on the team, and you do wonder if it's not bad to have that guy if you do have some uncertainty about Cam Ward's throwing shoulder here if only for the next few months, just to kind of have him, in your back pocket, and these guys can just trade off shoulder injuries each year. But
just alternate.
But you would have thought by now that they would have probably dealt Levis and he wouldn't still be on the team, but he is. And, you're talking about a guy that will have a new coach just like everybody else will. And, maybe he responds to that. And I don't think it's a terrible thing to still have Will Levis. You're talking about if you did need him to be the quarterback, he can do it on a very cheap contract. And that's a pretty valuable thing, especially if the Titans go into next season. Let's say Ward does need surgery later or something's preventing him from playing. Yeah, Will Levis, this isn't going to be a wonderful team. It should be a better team. But I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world if he ended up being the quarterback. And for me, I would, if nothing else, try to hold on to him as an insurance policy because he doesn't cost that much money right now.
So, Gentry, what do you make of the Ty Simpson situation? So there's been no word from Ty Simpson as to what he's doing moving forward here, whether that's going to the NFL, coming back to Bama, or now, after some comments that have been made from Chris Lowe, who said the other day that he would expect if he does come back to college football that Simpson could hop in the portal and that Tennessee could be a spot for him. Now all of Vol Twitter is convinced that Ty Simpson is the starting quarterback for Tennessee in the fall. So what do you make of the future of Ty Simpson that currently seems up in the air?
Well, I wish I had a little more insight on that one than I do. I guess I'll just wait and see. I don't. You never know. Too many times with this stuff, you'll ask the player, "Are you coming back?" "Oh, sure, I'm coming back." And then a week later, he's in the portal. It can work the other way too. There's some what we've introduced into college football now are negotiation tactics that you would see, as a free agent in the pro league. So I guess you just kind of wait and see. But wouldn't be a bad quarterback for Tennessee. And that question is still out there for Tennessee on what they're going to do here with McIntyre and the new freshman coming in and how they see things. And it does appear that the Vols are going to try to be active in the portal a little bit here. So you could certainly do a lot worse than a playoff quarterback.
No, I mean, that would be an incredible win for the Vols. Most of these guys, these top QBs now are getting gobbled up, that are in the portal. So, yeah, that would be – what a story that would be. And, of course, guy who was going to come back when his dad was going to be Jeremy Pruitt's QB coach. And, of course, we know how that all went. Gentry, I do want to go back on the Titans, just your view of the structure and Brinker and Amy Adams-Strunk's statement last week. What do you think it means?
I liked it. It's something I've thought they should do for a while. The funny part of the statement was the use of the word more traditional role for a GM. Because as PK pointed out in the media room yesterday, that's admitting how untraditional it's been or for the last few years, which is something the Titans kind of tried to say otherwise with how they've been doing things. And it never made sense to me after Rand Carthon was let go for that initial statement to immediately give all power of the roster to Chad Brinker without any thought about who the GM was going to be. No idea who it was going to be, and yet Chad Brinker, well, he's going to control the roster. Well, why? And then you hire Mike Borgonzi, and it's like, well, why doesn't this – you're talking about this guy's building the team, but he doesn't have final say over the roster? Well, that doesn't make any sense. So for the first time in a while, I actually feel like what the Titans are doing does make sense. And, I'm of the mindset that Mike Borgonzi has been impressive in media settings, and he's probably going to be again today. But just because he exudes competency, that's not the same as excellence. And the Titans have been devoid of competency for a lot of how they've been run here the last few years, as evidenced by the record. So I think Borgonzi has been encouraging, but he's been encouraging because he's been an improvement over how it's been. So now let's see how the guy really does the job. And, I think it's good that they're trusting him to actually be a real GM for whatever that's worth.
Gentry, before we let you go, now that Rexrode has been kind enough to grace us with his presence for the segment, do you want to re-ask your question to him?
Yeah, Joe, I asked you earlier about what's up with Paul Davis at the Michigan State basketball game, because that was interesting.
Oh, that's so funny because I'm in a text thread right now. I think I know what he said. I won't repeat it on the air. But, yeah, Izzo, like, get out of here.
Yeah, Izzo from across the court.
Screaming, get out of here. To one of his great players. And I'm sorry I wasn't here. One thing I discovered this morning, sometimes you have a little power outage and then you have to reset your clocks. And I was like, gosh, it seems like a long break. So the stove clock's about 4 minutes slow. So I got in there. I'm like, oh yeah, they're already going without me. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to both of you and to everyone.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Gentry, thank you for being with us. Great stuff as always, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Gentry Estes from the Tennessee and our guest. Joe, we will get into the Ty Simpson stuff coming up next. Some interesting comments from Chris Lowe. And like I said, all of Tennessee Twitter now thinks that Ty Simpson's their quarterback heading into the fall. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate Gentry Estes for the Tennessean for being with us in the last segment. Joe, the future of Ty Simpson, Alabama quarterback, up in the air. Could he go pro and go to the NFL? Is he coming back to college football at Bama next year? Or is he coming back to college football and potentially hopping in the transfer portal here and where he could be the next quarterback at Tennessee? Vol Twitter running with some comments that Chris Lowe threw out there, I believe yesterday. And this was on the Rocky Top Insider Lowdown show. And here is what Chris Lowe had to say on the Ty Simpson front that has Tennessee fans all in a buzz right now.
But I also don't think you want to go into next year playing a kid who's never played. And granted, McIntyre's been on campus for a year. I still think physically he needs to get bigger and stronger. So I think without question, Tennessee's combing the portal for a quarterback. And the one that's most intriguing, and Bama fans and Tennessee fans are going to sit up straight when I say this, is Ty Simpson. I do not believe Ty Simpson will be back at Alabama next year. I think he's gone. I think it's either he's going to the pros and going, entering the draft, or I think he's going to go into the portal. Now Ty's been around for a while. He's a pretty savvy kid. His dad, Jason's as a coach. So they're not going to do anything without talking to the right people and talking to people who know, I think most importantly, Bob, a Tennessee kid who I think was interested in coming to Tennessee. There was that transition between Pruitt and Heupel, so it was sort of a weird time. I think there were other times during his career at Alabama where he might have thought about transferring, and Tennessee was in his thoughts. It just didn't happen. But I think this time, if he doesn't decide to transfer, and I think the thing his decision in my mind will hinge on simply this. If he gets the kind of feedback from pro people that he is a first-round draft pick, I think he's gone. I think he'll go to the NFL. And you know what? He probably should. He got hit a lot. He took a lot of hits, got hit a lot, and this was his fourth year on campus. If he gets from NFL GM scouts, yeah, you're the third quarterback in the draft. We think you're going to go somewhere between 15 and 25. I think he's gone. If it's not, if that feedback, Bob, is not that emphatic about, well, maybe you slide into the second round, then I think he's going to look seriously at transferring. And I think if he does, I think he lands at Tennessee.
So that was Chris Lowe on the Rocky Top Insider Lowdown show, Joe. So obviously the last part of that has got Tennessee fans, all over the place. Wow, Ty Simpson could be the quarterback. What do you make of Ty Simpson? A decision from him that has not been made yet, whether he's going to the pros, whether he's coming back to college football. And what do you make of the idea of Ty Simpson potentially being the quarterback at Tennessee next year?
Well, right off the jump, I'd say it's a pretty low chance, and no pun intended, Chris Lowe.
Nice.
But good stuff from Chris Lowe there, and really interesting. I totally agree with him on the pro thing. I've talked to Jason Simpson quite a bit about the whole NFL thing for a story I did a couple weeks ago. And, as you'd expect, agents are telling them, oh, he's a lock, he's a first rounder. Doesn't mean they're right. If I had to guess, if he goes in the draft, I would bet that he goes somewhere mid to late first round. But I don't know that they're going to have assurance of that. A big thing with him is it's that back injuries. That's not. Now again, they've said it's not a big deal, but the fact is he was getting epidurals before some of these games down the stretch, and back injuries, as we know around here, right? And I'm not saying it's the same thing as the sciatica with Caleb Farley, but back injuries are
Sciatica.
Yes, or a little bit alarming. So it's like, on the one hand, you could come back to college, have a year, demonstrate that you're healthy and that it's all good and it's not a concern, and be like a lock in a year. Or it's like, maybe you should go right now and in a pretty weak QB class, and who knows what next year's will be. We're so wrong about like what the QB. I mean, like Arch, I guess might be the first pick now if he keeps getting better in 27. But who knows? This year, it's not great. This year, it's kind of soft, and it's one of those years where again, Fernando Mendoza is going to go first. Dante Moore, who just started playing, is a contender to go first. You telling me Ty Simpson isn't a first rounder? I think he would be. I just don't know that they will get the assurance that Lowe just mentioned there in that clip.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I also I have my doubt. There's another thing here. Tennessee is recruiting Graham Simpson hard. Well, so is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So is Alabama. Like
so
a
is
lot
of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Ty Simpson's little brother, very different type of player from Ty, not the runner athlete he is, but as a passer, incredibly prolific. So, that's another aspect of this too. I kind of just have my doubts. Obviously they went through the process, the Simpson family, through all this stuff, Robbie, of each year ending, and then it's like, oh, Milrose the guy, and you're just gonna be the backup, and now are they gonna go get someone else? And through it all, he stuck it out, and I think there's a lot of pride he has in that, and they have in that, and that they have in Alabama. And I just, I just have a hard time buying that he's going to flip to rival Tennessee, even though they're in the state. His dad almost took the job at Tennessee. Graham's being recruited by Tennessee. I don't know. That would surprise me if that would ultimately be the outcome.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think when you look at it on the surface, if I had to assign a percentage to it, Joe, I think it's more than a 50-50 shot he's going pro. Like I just think when you look at it, the way the quarterback class appears to be shaken out, and I say that obviously knowing, Joe, that they have not gone through the draft process yet. As we know, one trip to the NFL Combine can change things for a lot of players. Like Anthony Richardson went from, what's he doing going out of college football to, oh my God, he's taken 4th overall because of what he did at the NFL Combine. So I understand all that. But to me, if you're a quarterback that is getting first-round feedback, this would be a pretty attractive year to just go ahead and go to the draft, because I don't think the quarterback class is going to be that strong. So I would probably start there. My expectation is that he's probably going to end up going to the draft. I mean, I also, Joe, don't think Chris Lowe just says stuff. Right. It's interesting to me that he was that emphatic about how he doesn't think Ty Simpson is coming back to Alabama. Like that I took, if it was some random dude saying that, it'd be one thing. When Chris Lowe says something like that, I kind of pay attention to it.
Absolutely. No, I 100% pay attention to it. And again, I think to me, when he's in a story like this, there's obviously always the family stuff like that, but I think of it from the Tennessee side, from the college side. He's very well sourced with Tennessee coaches and SEC and around college football. And there's also reporting around VolQuest about Heupel going to Martin. So, so I mean, I think this is real from the Tennessee side. And look, man, if this could shake out for Tennessee, I'm picking them to go to the playoff next year. That's how much I think of Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson, I'm worried about the back. Look at what he before the back. And I know I'm not saying it's all the back. I think there's other issues, but like Alabama couldn't run the ball lick this year. Ryan Williams was a huge disappointment this year. Their defense was okay. You look at what he was doing when he was healthy. He was on his way, I think, to potentially winning the Heisman, certainly to be in New York, and he was going to be discussed as a number 1 pick. I think he's that good. And obviously you're talking about a pretty significant system change, but I think he would be amazing for Tennessee. So you don't want to get Vols fans' hopes up too much on this, because again, I think the percentage is still pretty low. But this is not nothing. And if it were to shake out where they're just like, you know what, again, I think the hope is the discussion of, look, if Ty has a good year and he gets through injury free, which of course everybody knows is no guarantee. But if you feel like he's going to get past this and that the back is going to worry teams now, that's, I think, the argument of, okay, come back for a year. And, I guess I don't understand totally right now why Bama is like, if I'm Bama, I damn well want him back, but I don't know.
It's very interesting. 615-737-1025, our phone number. What do you make of the comments that Chris Lowe put out there that Ty Simpson could end up at Tennessee as their starting quarterback? We'll have more on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts on Ty Simpson and what his future could look like. Is he going to the NFL? Is he going back to Bama? Could he be the quarterback at Tennessee? Some interesting comments from Chris Lowe that are making their waves. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the show. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Robby and Joe? Hey, I was asking Ian, man, so I ask you, isn't it? I mean, it's cool. Like, I'm not just going to be like, he's a Bama guy. No, he's a great quarterback, but isn't it supposed to be a niche quarterback to run the ball's offense? Like, not everybody, like we've been told all along, not everybody can do it. I mean, it's a high-flying offense, run faster than anybody else in the country. Like, can you just plug anybody in there? That's my only thing is, could he fit the offense?
It's an interesting question. Thank you, Adam, for the call. Like, I would say this, Joe. Like, to me, Ty Simpson, I think, can run any offense. What I've said is, in terms of the Tennessee part of this, he would kind of fit the mold, right, of like Heupel. The more distance you get from the Hendon Hooker part of this, and Hendon Hooker and Ty Simpson are not remotely the same type of quarterback. I get that. But like Hendon Hooker was prolific in this offense, and he went to the NFL, and it's not gone well for him since then. You know, they went through Milton and Nico, and then they find Aguilar, who's not a highly touted guy, comes in, has a great year in Tennessee's offense. So it makes you wonder, like, if you bring in players that are experienced, that have played a lot of football, can they handle, like, what does that mean for them in this offense? And one thing that I said at the beginning of all this, Joe, was what does that mean if you go get an experienced guy who's also really, really talented? And they've not had that combo. They've not had the combo of a lot of experience, a lot of talent. Ty Simpson would fit that mold. I think he would be just fine in the offense.
Yeah, to answer Adam's question, I think it's really more I actually think that it's more that the offense enhances quarterbacks and can make quarterbacks look better than what they are, which is a great thing for the offense. I'm not saying it works for everybody. I mean, look, we saw Joe Milton in the offense, and he has some shortcomings that could not be overcome. And then we saw Nico, a young Nico in the offense. I would have liked to have seen Nico this last year and this coming year, and I think it probably would have looked pretty good. But I think that the offense gives quarterbacks answers that other offenses don't, which is why coaches like it, why it works, why you see it a lot. We're going to see this offense against Miami in a national semifinal.
Yeah.
But what it hasn't done is won it all. And also there is the knock on it is that by giving the quarterbacks those answers in concepts and in ways that you just aren't seeing in the NFL, and in some ways it simplifies things, hurts a quarterback as he goes to the NFL, because he's doing things he's not doing in the NFL, and he's not doing some things that he will have to do in the NFL. So I think that's but I think Ty Simpson in this offense would be tremendous. I mean, because when it's operated at its best, and I think Aguilar did that this year too. Like, look, Aguilar, did this offense not elevate what Joey Aguilar is as a player based on all evidence we have? And of course it did. And I think with Hendon Hooker and Aguilar, and we would see this with Ty Simpson, certainly just the ability to throw in a little bit of QB run is just makes it just that much more of an issue. I suppose you could say that about any offense, right? Like, you have a quarterback that the defense has to account for as a runner, just makes it that much harder on the defense. But I just feel like it's with this offense, with what you already do in creating a light box, and what you already do with using the entire field horizontally, you throw in a quarterback who can hurt you with his legs, and it can just become impossible for defenses.
Cam on the text line says, I think the truth behind the scenes is that Alabama is moving on from Ty. Most Bama fans I know put a lot of the season's shortcomings on Ty, which is ridiculous. I think he goes pro also, but I have hope that it would be huge in showing Graham Simpson what a quarterback can do in the Simpson. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I agree in the last part. Yeah, I don't know, Cam. That's an interesting point, and maybe you're right. I think that's crazy. I mean, a year ago, again, the Simpsons were doing all the things that you do. They were talking to other programs.
Sure.
There were offers coming in, and Jason Simpson had a meeting with Kalen DeBoer, and Kalen DeBoer was like, "Yeah, I mean, I think your kid's good. Like, we're like, he's our guy." I don't understand how, after the entirety of this season, and also, by the way, how tough the kid is, playing through this crap, getting an epidural every week, and still going out there and taking those hits. How you unless maybe they think they're like, oh, the back thing's a problem. I don't know. If it's not that the back thing scares them away, what is Alabama doing that's going to be snap your fingers and it's better than what Ty Simpson gave you?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy to me. Crazy.
I agree. I don't know. I mean, Do they have some quarterback there that's behind them that they absolutely love? I have no idea what that looks like. I mean,
the kid who played, who was at
Mac,
Washington. Yeah. I mean, he's good. He's talented. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe DeBoer's like, I just think he's going to end up
Mack's
being
my
better.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's short of that or the back being an issue. I mean, I don't know. I think Simpson's a leader. I really do. I think he's a legit leader and a guy you want at the tip of the spear of your football team. But hey,
well,
we'll see.
Like I said, it's something that's going to be interesting to monitor. I mean, Joe, I would assume that we're going to find out an answer pretty quickly here. I mean, the portal's open at this point. So, like, if you're going to either way, if you're going pro, that decision is going to have to come pretty quickly. If you're Ty Simpson and if you're staying in college football and you have any sort of idea that you're going to transfer, well, we're going to have to find out here pretty quickly. So over the next couple of days, Joe, I would assume we're going to get a resolution on the Ty Simpson part of this one way or the other.
Yeah. And because, like you said, like with Bama, if it's not Mac, it has to be Mac. If it's not him, because I mean, most of the prominent QBs have already sort of
committed.
Have chosen up their sides, at this point. So it would have to be that. And it's coming fast here. I would think that we'll know this week. Now I don't know the NFL declaration isn't for a bit, right? I think it's more like the 17th or something like that. So there's some time on that. But if there's no movement, there's nothing that happens, there's no official word out there, then I think then you can probably assume he's just going to the NFL if we get through a couple days and nothing's happened.
Oh, and again, like in the backdrop of all of this, there's the Ty Simpson stuff going on. I mean, I guess there's not a resolution yet on the Joey Aguilar stuff. So, like, if Tennessee doesn't land Simpson, like you said, all these other quarterbacks are committing elsewhere right now. So right now, it's like you've got Faison Brandon, you've got George McIntyre in your quarterback room. Regardless of whether they go find a starting one or not, they still need to go get another quarterback somewhere, right? Like they need another quarterback to add a third one to the room. So, I mean, Tennessee's going to pick up a quarterback. I'm just telling you, I mean, Vol Twitter, there are some members of Vol Twitter that are just convinced that Ty Simpson's going to be the quarterback next year. And, man, what a story that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I saw, like, on VolQuest, there's a poster who put some tweet that's like, basically it's a done deal, but like
I saw that, yeah.
The account's like a 9-follower burner,
message board geniuses type account.
Yeah, you gotta just and most people, by the way, on the board are like, yeah, okay, I'm taking I'm taking that from you, sure thing. But again, Austin Price is on this, and other people are on this, who cover the balls, and it's not nothing. There's no doubt about that. And man, if it were to come to pass, for one thing, then you'd really feel good about Graham Simpson, right?
Yeah,
down the road. And Graham, like Graham Simpson, like no question, like I know that like he likes Tennessee a lot. He also loves Vanderbilt. It's a really interesting battle, and that's the kind of battles we can start to have around here. If Vanderbilt's going to be what they became this year, and we're going to have maybe more of the in-state battles for top recruits, which is part of what a rivalry is supposed to be. But just for next year, to me, that would totally change the ceiling on that team.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
It's the excessive sex and the excessive violence.
I don't know what's going on, man, but I'm feeling you right now.
Uh-oh, Steve, don't get thrown out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there.
But I just hate sports.
What do you want me to do? Hug and kiss him?
Fart you, I won't do what you tell me.
Back him up, GP. Back him up, Steve. Ready to fire on him.
Bag up. Bag up, Terry.
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood. Get him, Steve. You in Inglewood, Steve?
Compton, Long Beach, Inglewood.
I might lose my mind today.
As I thought I would do, I have no idea what your question was.
It is time for the Rex Rant here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Heal from the inside out. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Joe Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before we get to the topic today, I do want to, and we could, you know, I'm doing a little digging myself, so maybe we'll have some more information or more discussion on the Ty Simpson thing later in the show. A point that's been made to me, and it's also being made on the text line, my text line and this text line. You know, Keelan Russell is the guy you need to think about. He redshirted this year, freshman, 5-star, Duncanville, Texas, and strong belief that he's special and the next star quarterback at Alabama. Now, as we know, some of these great quarterbacks in recent years, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, have done Nico had the same path. You redshirt that first year, you get stronger, and then it's your time. And so I think that's maybe a little bit of the thought process at Bama. And then, of course, you do have the, like, look, personally, I would take a 23-year-old healthy Ty Simpson 7 days out of 7 over a 5-star freshman who hasn't really played much, right? Like, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
However, if you're Kalen DeBoer, in the nature of today's game, if you do that, if Ty comes back, do you lose Keelan Russell? That's right. Like, that's the game you have to play with quarterbacks. Now, I would say my argument would be to Russell, hey, man, like, another year is not the end of the world. And maybe you can be weaved in next year, and then it's all yours in 27. But that's just not how it often goes today. So that to me makes it a little easier to understand on the Bama side what the issue might be, right?
There you go.
So there you go.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We may have more to talk about before the show's over. But I'd like to go to. I think we need to kill this thing right now, and so I'm gonna try to do it. You know, coaches so often, and we like to rip them for it, Robby. They do something dumb, and everybody's told them or tells them it was dumb, and then they're like, yeah, well, you just like to second guess. For example, you know, Brian Callahan, as we've talked about before many, many times, season opener, before they ever ran a play deep in their own end with a rookie quarterback against one of the best defenses in the league, which we know now is the defense of a number 1 seed.
Yep.
With the Broncos not having enough timeouts to force the issue, the obvious thing to do before we ever saw a play run was to run the football and take that lead into halftime. And Brian Callahan stupidly did not do that. And then there's a pick, and that was a disastrous sequence in a disastrous game in his disastrous tenure, and a big part of why he was gone. And what did he say afterward? You guys just like, if something doesn't work out, you just like to second guess. No, dude.
It's first guessing.
It's first guessing. But my God, the second guessing on Cam Ward right now has to die. A quick death, okay? So Mark H., I've already told Mark H. that you probably created my rant today. He's for it. He says he's glad he could supply me with material. So I appreciate it, Mark H., on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. This is what he said, and we've heard this already this week. I mean, Mark called in yesterday. Mark from Nashville called in yesterday and said, guys, this has to die. This is what Mark H. said. Quote, I said it weeks ago, no value in Cam Ward playing the last few games of a meaningless season. Now he's dealing with an injury, wasted on getting more experience in a handful of games. Hate to see it, end quote. So let me ask you this. What should the Titans have done? Why play him at all this year? Why not draft a Cam Ward and then just build up the best possible football team, however long it takes. Great offensive line, skill guys, get a good defense, get a good special teams, and just have a stunt double at quarterback, okay? Just put in a stunt double at quarterback until finally you can put in your precious commodity rookie quarterback and have him on the field. I mean, guys, this is the type of thing that gives coaches fuel when they say, oh, so something didn't work out, now you want to second guess. This is terrible second guessing. Of course you play Cam Ward. Of course, you can play him every snap you can play him this year. Not one person last week, the week before, a month before that said, whoa, you should sit Cam Ward. If you were going to do that, sit him in week 4 when we knew they sucked by then. It's complete nonsense. And we have enough things right now to yell about and argue about and wonder about in the coaching search for this to get any more oxygen. I just probably gave it more than it deserved, but it's not like Mark H is on an island here. Like, it's way too frequent that I'm seeing this week. And it's just, this is the type of second guessing that helps coaches when they try to say that people just second guess.
There's no reason at all heading into that game where anybody with a brain would have thought you would have sit Cam Ward. He needs all the reps he can get. You cannot put your quarterback in bubble wrap. This is the National Football League. And look, to his credit, he's been pretty durable this year, right? Like, he's been hit a lot. And some of that's his own doing. Some of that's with the offensive line. Look, it sucks that he got hurt. It does. You know, fortunate for him, he's avoided surgery by the looks of it, and he's going to be fine as they move forward here. But had they set Cam Ward down the last week or the last couple of weeks of the regular season, everybody around here would be screaming about, what are you doing? Like, you need the guy to get as many reps as possible, and you're sitting him down the last couple of weeks of the season. So, yeah, like, I don't think it's a very popular thought that's been out there, but I would hope that if you're being realistic about the conversation, and now not just because he got hurt in the last game of the year where it's convenient to throw this out there, that this was some popular idea before. No. Had they set him down the last couple of weeks, people around here would be going nuts about it.
I mean, you talk about unwatchable, but also nonsensical.
Yeah.
Nonsense. They were going to be bad this year. You know, like Dennis said, it's like, you know, months ago you would have made the decision then if that's what it's about. It's about, the season was about him improving. How does he do that?
He's got to play.
Butch Jones mental reps. Butch Jones, by the way, one of 18 teams have 3 bowl games in the last 3 years. Just want to point that out. No, it's nonsense, and it needs to die. So I brought it up here, and I'm trying to think, like, if someone brings it up ever again, like, I'm trying to think, well, should we do like a 1-month ban or something like that, or am I being a little too harsh?
I don't know.
There's worse takes.
There's worse,
I suppose.
Yeah,
for
sure.
By the way, Billy from Bellevue, Andrew from Dover, Cam, Billy from Bellevue wanted some love. All of them mentioned Keelan Russell, so just want to make sure that the Bama fans are all over this.
I meant to get to this yesterday real quick, Joe, but I want to get your thoughts on this very quickly as we kind of spin off the rant here. I saw a stat over the weekend in the NFL that I could not believe, and Zach Rosenblatt threw this out there. Garrett Wilson was the leading receiver for the New York Jets this year, who, by the way, played in 7 games, and he didn't finish all of those games. He had 395 yards receiving and was the leading receiver for the New York Jets this year. That is maybe the craziest stat I've ever seen. 17-game schedule. Not like one player over 400 yards.
Like, you'd expect that stat to lead an NFL team in receiving in like 1952.
Yeah.
I mean, Raymond Berry's 400-yard mark. I mean, wow.
I had another one too.
That's special.
For the Jets, for the first time in NFL history, a defense failed to record a single interception across the entire season.
Yeah, not one interception the whole year.
That's a great point. Like, which of those stats is crazier? And as someone pointed out, I forget who tweeted this, but it's like Aaron Glenn made his career. He had like 40-some career. He had like 6 pick sixes.
Yeah,
all this stuff. His team got 0.
Couldn't intercept one pass. You know how hard that is?
I mean, the combination of pass defense and pass offense. for that team, it's got to be up there.
Titans fans, it could be worse.
Yes, it could be.
615-737-1025
Not much, but it could be.
is our phone number. We will get back into the latest on the Titans coaching search coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will get back into the Ty Simpson conversation a little bit later in the show. A lot of different thoughts on that. On the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Yeah, like real quick, Tyrus 1975 on the YouTube chat says, what reason would Simpson have for leaving Alabama for UT? I mean, I think we just explained all that. But if you weren't listening, it's possible that first of all, it's most likely of all things that Simpson goes to the NFL. It's also possible that Alabama is ready to move on to Keelan Russell. I would call that a gamble, but word is you're talking about a special player. And if you're that special, again, Bryce Young was ready year 2, and he was great.
Yep.
CJ Stroud was ready year 2, and he was great. So that does happen.
It does happen. No doubt about it. So we will keep our eyes out for any news on that front. The Titans deep into the head coaching search now. Lots of names being connected to the Titans in terms of potential interviews, whether that's Raheem Morris, Lou Anarumo, Steve Spagnuolo, obviously Matt Nagy that we talked about yesterday, and Joe PK putting it out there that the first 2 in-person interviews for the head coach position are set, with Kevin Stefanski visiting on Saturday and Raheem Morris coming in on Sunday with the Tennessee Titans. So you're talking about 2 head coaches that were just fired in Stefanski and Morris that the Titans are taking a look at. So a lot of different names that have been thrown out there. We talked about Cliff Kingsbury earlier that's been connected as well. A lot of names to sort through right now for the Titans, but 2 in-person interviews coming up this weekend with Stefanski and Morris. And again, the Stefanski part of this, and it's not just the Titans either. Like a lot of these openings, whether it's the Giants, the Falcons, whoever, there's a lot of conversation on the Stefanski front right now. And the reaction is pretty much the same all over, which is there are some people that love the idea of Kevin Stefanski being the head coach of the Titans, or if you're a Falcons fan, the head coach of the Falcons. And there are some people that do not like that at all. Very, I don't know if he's like Matt Nagy level of polarizing, but it's polarizing on the Stefanski front with Titans fans right now.
Yeah, and if you're a Titans fan who's down on him, you have a right to yell at a Titans fan who's like, drop everything else. This is the guy. It's not like there are no questions about Stefanski. When losing happens, even though we can look at certain things that are not his fault, but still, when that happens, you still have to, it's on the coach's record. You still have to wonder, what happened there. Did he lose? Did he lose his grip in the locker room? Whatever. Schematically, did he fall behind? I mean, these guys are constantly updating, copying each other, trying to figure the next thing out to beat each other on both sides of the ball. So those are all fair questions. But let's remember that, like when Vrabel was fired here a couple years ago, it was the same thing. I mean, they did go 6-11, guys, and they did lose. What was it? 18 of the last 24 under Vrabel.
Yes.
Okay. How was none of that on Vrabel? And I'm not saying that there wasn't anything on Vrabel. There was. He made some mistakes. Gentryus has said it earlier. But where is he now? He's a good coach. And by the way, Vrabel was a little helper for Stefanski not too long ago.
Yeah.
I think Stefanski's a good coach. So I think the Titans should absolutely be serious about Kevin Stefanski. And if they are, they will not be the only team in this league serious about thinking about hiring Kevin Stefanski.
By the way, Ian Rappaport put it out there that the Titans will be speaking with Lou Anarumo tomorrow. So Anarumo speaking with the Titans tomorrow. And then as PK put out there, Stefanski in person Saturday, Morris on Sunday. So busy times for the Tennessee Titans. And, Joe, the other part of this is are there any other coaches that shake free today? I mean, I know we call it Black Monday, but, I mean, look, the Titans have made some moves before on Tuesday. We've talked about that before. Diana Rossini put it out a few minutes ago, and it's worth keeping in mind that, like, this time of year, moves aren't really made in a vacuum. And what she said was some teams are waiting to see how the coaching market shakes out and who could become available before making moves of their own. So we very well could not see or probably have not seen the last of the coaching moves that have been made.
Well, and the way I interpret that is there's some teams waiting to see if John Harbaugh shakes free.
Exactly.
And if he does, see it. Who would be the most likely?
I kind of thought Tampa would have moved on from Bowles after the way this season went. Although he did sign an extension, but the whole back half of the season was just terrible.
They were brutal.
They were. Now, Baker was hurt again this year, and Baker was kind of brutal.
Yeah, he was turning the ball over like crazy in the back half.
I thought he showed a lot of guts, down the stretch, but also, there's no question that affected him. But, yeah, Bowles is a possibility. There's been some talk about Aaron Glenn with the Jets, even though it's been one freaking year. I mean, we just talked about their amazing season. Who else out there might
since he's safe, right?
Yeah, Zach Taylor's coming back.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Colts will never fire anyone again. So Steichen and Ballard back in there with the Colts.
I love that last week. There was a friend of the show, Jordan Rodriguez, did a great story on Carly Ursay-Gordon. But, there was a lot of interpretation out of it. Oh, my gosh, she is setting everybody up to get rid of these guys. And it's no, they were told last week they're good.
Yeah.
Chris Ballard, lifetime deal. You're good, buddy. No problem. Everything's fine.
Yeah. And also, adding to that, Mike McDaniel looks like he's safe down there in Miami.
Going to be part of the GM search, he says.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point halfway through the year, Joe, where it was basically a foregone conclusion that he was going to get fired. And then they end up going 7-10, and they've moved on from Tua. And apparently Mike McDaniel going to have some say on who comes into the GM.
I'm telling you right now, especially because Stephen Ross is he's one of the biggest freaking goofball owners ever in sports. I'm telling you, if John Harbaugh becomes available, Mike McDaniel will be given a bus ticket that day. I swear to you. Thanks, Mike. Bye. Someone remove Mike from the premises. I mean, somebody's if that happens, someone is going to do something that they said they weren't going to do.
Yeah.
To try to get him.
Yeah.
But so is he? That's what's really interesting. Lamar Jackson gets asked. Granted, after the game, but do you want to be back at quarterback? Guys, I'm trying to process this. I just, there's going to be.
It's a very easy question he was asked to just say yes to. Of course, I do.
Exactly. And so, is it not are those two is it not? Can they not move forward? I'm sorry, man. People can say whatever they want about Lamar Jackson. In the playoffs or whatever. I mean, I watched him throw a perfect pass. His freaking tight end dropped in the end zone last year at Buffalo after an incredible drive in an incredible game. I'm a believer in Lamar Jackson. And as much as I love John Harbaugh as a coach, I think he's a great coach. I guess the injury thing is the one question, though, with Lamar Jackson. But I think if I'm having to choose there, I'm choosing the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. If he shakes free, are there teams out there right now that would just go ahead and fire their coach, even without an assurance of bringing him in? I think about it would be a very Jerry Jones thing, right? Of John Harbaugh breaks free and he's like,
yeah,
all right, we'll see you later. Come on in. Let's get John Harbaugh down here. I mean, it would be a very Jerry Jones thing to do. I mean, Miami for sure. I'll tell you this. One to watch. I know that he's quote unquote safe, but if John Harbaugh broke free, the idea, if I'm him, of going to coach Joe Burrow would be pretty intriguing to me. And if I'm the Bengals, I would probably be all right, Zach, I like you. Glad that it looks like things are going to be going well for you and the continuity and all those things. But we said you were coming back. You're not coming back. We're bringing John Harbaugh in.
I could see it, and then they're going to find out John Harbaugh's salary demand, and then they're going to be like, Brian Callahan, are you available?
Yeah, we can't do that. Which, by the way, does he end up back on Zach Taylor's staff next year, you think?
I wouldn't be surprised. Some position or even an analyst job, something like that. Yeah. Or somewhere. I mean, he has connections to other coaching trees in the league. So
shouldn't be worried about money. He's getting paid.
That is true. Amy loves paying people to not work. There's 4 coaches, Robbie, that I still want to see them interview.
Okay.
And I'm for even more than that. Now, I understand at this point I'm asking them to interview half the world. But I've already said it earlier in the show. I think it's crazy not to interview Brian Flores. Lawsuit, all that understood. If you're interviewing these defensive coordinators, the best defense coordinator of the game right now is Brian Flores.
Yes.
I mean, he is. They don't have overwhelming talent. There's some good players on that defense. That he's the best DC in the game. Robert Saleh, he's been my number one. I mean, I'll be blown away if they don't take a run at him. I'd also, since we're on the DC thing, I think Chris Shule is a really intriguing guy. D coordinator for the Rams. You look what they've done. They've had some really good young talent in the last couple of years, but he's good. Grandson of Don, and also Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady should get a look. I'd like to see a little bit more of the unknown young. I think you got to have some of that in the interview process. I would like to see those 4 guys interviewed.
I think that's a good list. I mean, I think there's a likelihood you will see those 4 guys interviewed. 615-737-1025, our phone number. More your reaction to get to on the Titans, the open head coaching position, and the search that is underway. Coming up next, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
It's early, but there's been a lot of activity for Kevin Stefanski, and I would imagine he can interview for all of the jobs that are going to be available, and will have that opportunity to do so. He's an offensive coach in a year where there doesn't seem to be many young offensive coaches being on the market, ones that are being coveted after. There's no Ben Johnson. There's no Mike Vrabel this year. It is a dearth of names as far as big ones go. Clint Kubiak would be the next name up in Seattle, but I believe Kevin Stefanski will get to interview at all these spots, and most likely will have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. Another name that's not being mentioned as much is Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, who I've had multiple teams mentioned to me. Hafley, of course, was the coach at Boston College for 3 years, so he has head coaching experience in the college level and has now been the coordinator in Green Bay, and they were having a wonderful season before some of these injuries, including Micah Parsons. Season's not done, but I would keep an eye on Jeff Hafley to get several interview opportunities.
That's Peter Schrager from ESPN. We're taking your thoughts on the coaching search for the Tennessee Titans. By the way, Joe, quickly some news to pass along in the NFL. Matt Eberflus has been fired by the Dallas Cowboys as defensive coordinator. So if you saw their defense this year, not very good. Now, take away Micah Parsons from a defense, it does not help, but not very good defense. And Eberflus out the door in his first year as defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, just paving the way for whoever John Harbaugh wants as his DC.
Oh, boy. Schottenheimer, we'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah, that he's definitely like a placeholder head coach like Dave Campo. It's like, okay, if I can get somebody good, you're out, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Trevor asking this, forgive me if we already discussed this. In what order do you rank your open jobs? I think minus ownership tends to be intriguing. Stadium, I don't know. Do coaches care about the stadium? The young franchise quarterback, no income tax. Yeah, people want to live in Nashville. I mean, I will say that. I would put Nashville as a place to live over like a new stadium. The QBs, the hard part, Trevor, for me is I think it's a beauty in the eye of the beholder with the quarterback more than anything. Yeah. And also it's how much the eye of the beholder is concerned about ownership. Those two things I think would make this job rank for various candidates quite differently from one to the other, potentially.
By the way, real quickly, Matt Nagy interviewing with the Titans on Thursday as well. So Thursday for the Titans will be Nagy. Wednesday is Lou Anarumo. Stefanski Saturday. Morris on Sunday is the current schedule of interviews for the Tennessee Titans that we have. I mean, so there are 6 jobs currently open. You got the Titans open, the Falcons, the Giants, the Browns, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. Joe, I would probably rank the Cardinals last. Like, I think the Cardinals, number one, you're moving on from Kyler. There's not a whole lot to work with there. And you're in the NFC West, which does not help. I mean, you got Seattle, the Rams to deal with, the Niners to deal with. So I would probably put, of the 6 that are open right now, I think I would rank the Cardinals last. I'd probably put Cleveland right in front of them at 5 because it's Cleveland. And I understand you got Myles Garrett, but you got a GM that I don't think is very good, that's somehow holding on to his job. You got the Jimmy Haslam ownership situation there. So to me, those 2 are clearly 5 and 6. And then from the Falcons, the Giants, the Titans, and the Raiders, I mean, you can put together any order you want to put together. I mean, look, I know the Raiders have been an absolute dumpster fire for a long time at this point. They do have the number 1 pick coming up. They have Brock Bowers in the fold. They have Ashton Genty in the fold. And we'll see what ends up happening with Max Crosby here too. So I know it's the Raiders. I know they're looking for another head coach again. And Tom Brady going to be involved in that search. I think those 4, to me, you could put in any order you want to. I think Browns and Cardinals clearly the worst.
I will say I would agree. I would say on the Raiders and Falcons front, if I'm a coach looking at the Raiders, you start with ownership, but all the losing, all the negativity, are you excited about Brady and his role, or is that a concern?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I would be more excited about Brady in the role than I would be just letting Mark Davis do it, whatever he wants to, right? Like, I understand it at the end of the day, it's his decision anyway. But if he fully trusts Brady to make the decision, I would probably rather have that than him just flying by the seat of his pants, which we've seen him do.
That's fair. And then you go to the Falcons and this weird structure they're talking about with, separate searches all funneling to Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Again, guys, Matt Ryan's a smart guy. Tom Brady's a smart guy. They were great players. But I'm a little – I hate as an NFL fan this you can be an announcer, talk about the whole league, be involved with the whole league, but you're working for a team. Well, I hate that. But even as a coach or somebody in an organization, I don't know. I'm not necessarily excited about guys like that having these roles without doing anything in personnel ever.
Well, and beyond that, like, to me, there's even a difference between the Brady and the Matt Ryan stuff. I mean, say what you will about Brady being an owner and still doing the broadcast, all right? at least from like a time commitment standpoint, like Brady's not in the Raiders building every day, right? Like he's not walking around in the Raiders building every day going through like team meetings with him. I would assume, Joe, that if Matt Ryan is like essentially being brought in to run the Falcons, I mean, don't you kind of have to be there like all the time? So, like, are you going to have time to do a broadcasting job on top of the job that you're already doing with the Falcons that I would assume is a pretty darn time-consuming job? Like that part of it to me just doesn't make any sense.
And I guess I just don't even understand from the perspective of with Brady, he's obviously a megalomaniac. So, I guess I get it from his perspective. He wants to do everything, make all the money, and, just have every job. But like, if you're Matt Ryan, like, why is it so important to keep doing TV? If you're going to be all in, man.
Yeah.
This is a huge job. Or if you want to do TV,
you can double dip, right? You get paid for both.
Yeah, I feel like, and I understand it's all relative, but
it feels
I feel like
I don't know.
The money's pretty good. The guys have made pretty good money in their lives.
You think the players feel bad saying no to the owners that like propelled them throughout their entire career? Like the Colts did this with Jeff Saturday, and their former players, their former owners, these old owners especially, fall in love with like these former players who brought the good old days, and for whatever reason, like cannot move on. Bring them back.
Matt Ryan
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, if he's taking that job to be nice to old Arthur Blank, then it's a complete bleep show. There's no hope at all, right? I mean, if you're going to do that job, like it is more than a full-time job. It's a big job. It's a hard job. You got to be all in. I think you're right about the perspective of the owners. I think definitely there's this. I mean, how many, we heard during this coaching search, what about Eddie George for the Titans? People get enamored with the legend coming back, and it rarely works out. But like, if you're Matt Ryan taking that job, how could you even think, I'm going to go do a little TV too? Really? Because you're running an NFL franchise.
Well, and how good's the job? Like from a head coaching perspective? Because on the one hand, you're in the NFC South. It's a bad division, as we just saw. Now, divisions in the NFL can flip pretty quickly, right? I mean, take a look at the AFC South. AFC South might be pretty halfway to decent division right now with Jacksonville and Houston doing what they're doing and the Colts before everybody got hurt. So we'll see on that front. But, like, I have no – like, is Michael Penix good? I have no idea. He's hurt all the time. I know that. So do you have your quarterback or do you not? What does that process look like? And if he's not good, are you going to be allowed as a coach and a GM, that combo coming together, to sift through that and go pick your guy coming up here in a couple of years? So there's that part of it. The Giants, I think if you ask the Giants, they are encouraged by what they've seen from Jackson Dart this year. But Jackson Dart ends up in the injury tent every game because he can't protect himself. So is that going to change at some point? Like it's these jobs are interesting from the standpoint of like when you're talking Raiders, Titans, Giants, and Falcons moving forward here, and you throw Browns in there too. How you feeling about quarterback moving forward?
Right. And what happens, I think some coaches look at it, I think some coaches would prefer to have their choice and be involved in the draft process, which is why you could potentially elevate the Raiders over these other jobs, right? That's like, okay, I'm going to get to have a say, and at least I can have a say in, Mendoza, Moore, maybe someone else emerges as a possible top of the draft quarterback, as opposed to I'm coming in with this young QB, and I know the GM who's hiring me, his future is dependent on this QB making it.
Arizona is borderline. I don't know. That might be the worst job.
That's a bad job right now.
I saw the stat. I don't exactly remember, but the Bidwells have owned that team since the 30s, and they have only made the Super Bowl one time.
Yeah, it's there.
Which is more than the Lions, by the way.
That's true.
So, that's a fair point. But I'm just saying, like,
they both suck. Yes,
where Arizona is and the lack of winning they have done, and the no man's land they are in.
It's a bad job.
Owner, like, I think that Arizona job is a bad job.
Yeah, the Bidwells don't get enough credit for being terrible owners.
Like,
we have a texter from Arizona making that point to us.
Yeah, I think we might be a little bit underrating the fact that how bad of a franchise Cardinals might be.
I mean, frankly, a lot of times I forget they exist. I'm like, oh, yeah, Arizona Cardinals. How about that? By the way, nice win for the Titans against them this year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More thoughts on the coaching front to get to coming up next. Take your thoughts on some NFL playoff matchups as well. We'll go quickly through those. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, the playoff matchups are set in the National Football League. Denver, the 1 seed in the AFC, so they'll have the bye week. Seattle, number 1 in the NFC, so no games for them coming up this weekend. In the AFC, you will have the Patriots taking on the Chargers, Jacksonville hosting the Bills in what could be a special environment at the Milky Pool. And then Pittsburgh hosting the Houston Texans. That is the AFC slate coming up this weekend. In the NFC, Chicago and Green Bay coming up on Saturday night. Philadelphia in San Francisco, which might be maybe the best game of the weekend. And then Carolina hosting the LA Rams. So the Rams as the 5 seed, Joe, get the privilege of going on the road to taking on the Carolina Panthers. Your thoughts on the playoffs this weekend? What game are you looking forward to the most? What game are you looking forward to maybe the least heading into this weekend?
Well, I guess I'll start with the second one. I mean, Rams-Panthers, I hope it's good. I have hopes. I hope the Panthers can hang in there. I'd like to know how many times, and maybe this is out there and I just missed it, but I'd like to know how many times a division winner hosting a playoff game was a double-digit underdog. Can't imagine it's been too many.
Not very many.
The Rams I'm seeing are -10, which I think is actually down from -10.5, which means a little bit of money on the Panthers. But, yeah, I hope it's good. That one, I think, might end up being like 27-10 Rams. The game I'm most looking for. So it's interesting that 49ers-Eagles one that you mentioned as a potential best game. I think you may be right. I heard D-Mace yesterday saying he thinks the Niners are just going to kick the Eagles' butts, which is really interesting. And he made the point of, the Eagles they've had this turmoil this year. The offense has been so disjointed and they just haven't put it together. And I agree with that. But I also think we are talking about a championship team. We're definitely talking about a championship defense. And I do think sometimes these teams, like we've seen it with the Chiefs before, it's like once you start getting in this rotation, you're going to Super Bowls, you're winning a Super Bowl. Sometimes it is kind of like you light that fire. You have to preserve a little bit, and you light the fire in the postseason. You put all the crap aside that people were mad about in the regular season, and you play your best football. And if they do, I think they could win it all again. I really do. I'm fascinated by that game. But I think my number one is Bills-Jags. Maybe that's weird. But I think the Jags are good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think they're really freaking good. And they are, again, as we talk about the Titans coaching search, just another example of, there's a lot of people on text line today, like, what about, Raheem Morris is a losing record or this coach or that coach? Why would you hire, this coach who has not been great? And again, it's like, well, good thing that somebody decided to do that after Bill Belichick's very underwhelming Cleveland Browns tenure with Nick Saban as his defensive coordinator, right? But the unknown is people are obsessed with it. Sometimes it works out. And Liam Cohen, 1 year, but man, how could you not be impressed? But then the Bills, they should be looking at this like, we should win. This is it. There's no Lamar Jackson. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Joe Burrow. Like this is your year to go win the freaking thing, but they have to win in Jacksonville to even get that started. I think that's the best game.
Jags have won 8 in a row, man. They've won 8 in a row. They're hot heading into the playoffs.
Jags and Houston, both hot.
Jags and Houston both playing well.
Do you want to lose one going in? Are you good with the winning streak going into the playoffs? Both teams? I guess so.
They're hot. They're hot. And look, Jacksonville, I think people have struggled to get there with Jacksonville, Joe, because they won't allow themselves to trust Trevor Lawrence. And I understand that because I'm probably in the same camp. Like, to me, this is when we're going to find out about Trevor Lawrence. But the fact is he's played extremely well this year. Like, he has been, particularly the last 10, 11 weeks of the year, he's been really, really good. So am I willing to just automatically say that this is some turning of the corner for him in his career? I don't know that I'm willing to go there yet, because he still every now and then will throw an interception where you're just like, oh boy, I don't know what he was doing there. But the bottom line is he's played really well heading into this game. So, if you're a Buffalo fan, can you imagine if you get telling a Bills fan before the year that you're going to get in the playoffs and you're not going to have to contend with Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow, and if they still get put out in the first round, man, how disappointing would that be?
Yeah, no question. I actually heard Big Joe yesterday when they had John McClain on, asking John basically if they don't do it, how do you assess their window? And I generally agree with John's basically the window, they have Josh Allen, they have a few deficiencies. that unfortunately, like they're running the ball now, but they can't stop the run.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like with the Bills, it's like, oh, you plug this hole and here's another leak springs up. I would tend to agree. Like, I wouldn't declare any window closed there, but it's just this is a year because I'm sorry. Like I think you and I disagree on Chargers Patriots. I think the Patriots could be in for a hell of a game there. And also it's hard for me to buy that they're going to make this run like snap the fingers first year of Vrabel, second year, but really a first good year of Drake May. I don't buy it. And so I look around the league. I guess I'm having a hard time buying the Broncos too because of their offense. I don't know if the Bills can really ask for a better overall picture. It's just that they are playing the hottest team. And to Ian's point, yeah, I do think sometimes it's good to lose one, but I think it's better, especially if you are on the winning streak and then you have a bye. That's where you really worry, right? Like they get to keep it rolling and then playing right away. I think this could be as tough a test as the Bills have, as crazy as that may sound. Maybe I'm too much of a Jags homer all of a sudden, but like if they can get past this test, I really like them to get to the Super Bowl.
I mean, it is kind of amazing there's 4 teams in the league this year that have 13 wins or more. I mean, you got Denver at 14, Patriots at 14, Jacksonville at 13, and obviously Seattle on the other side with 14. That's you don't get that every year. I mean, there are some years where 12-5 will put you in first place in your conference. And there are 4 teams this year that have 13 wins or more.
Well, when the Titans were the 1 seed just 4 years ago, by the way, weren't they 12-5?
Yes.
Yeah. 4 years. Just 4 years.
God, that's hard to imagine.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Hard to really think back to on that front. I mean, look, I'll tell you a game that I guarantee you will be a good game. I have no idea which way it's going to go. I mean, Chicago-Green Bay is going to be a great game. It's been a great game both times they played this year. It'll be a great game again. I have no idea which way that one's going to go. None.
No, I'm with you, and I know that this is the heartstrings are being pulled on this. I'm expecting more trash talk between you and Ryan from Chicago.
We'll get there.
Maybe Michelle can jump in there, talk a little trash too. She does not have to become a Bears fan. I implore her, do not be a Bears fan. You can, you just because your boyfriend's a Bears fan, you don't have to be a Bears fan. Just saying.
That's true.
But no, I think it's a really fascinating game, and frankly I like the Packers. I just like the Packers. Maybe it's like the cliche of the 3 times, a little bit of a cliche. It does happen.
Yeah.
Titans fans can tell you, Jags fans can tell you, it does happen when people don't think it's ever going to happen. But man, I don't like the Bears. I know the Lions only scored 19 on them, but the last 2 times out I've watched the Bears defensively, they're not good. And and then Caleb Williams, great talent. I'd take him as my quarterback, but also he also misses stuff sometimes. It's like, how could you miss that? And I just feel like the Packers are due a bounce, and that's probably what that game will come down to.
One texter says, it's good to have a Duval homer on the program. They don't call him old Jacksonville Joe for nothing. Big Duval guy in Rexrode.
Duval.
They're going to win the freaking Super Bowl, aren't they?
Oh.
And then we're never going to get rid of those 2 idiots ever. I mean, you got Cohen with the Duval stuff and their 13-year-old general manager, and they're going to win a Super Bowl without Travis Hunter even playing.
Travis Hunter is who we've been hunting up.
Like I guess it's almost the same thing. You flip it around the Bills. Like if the Jags get by the Bills, then maybe. I mean, watch out. I will say we haven't talked about them yet in this segment, but I really think the Texans could make a run.
That defense is legit, man.
Yeah, the defense wins championships thing has been debunked, but also like sometimes defenses are the biggest thing in winning championships. For people who don't remember, they want to misremember this. When the Bucs won it all, Brady was great. He did a great job, but like that defense and what it did to Patrick Mahomes, and granted a bad offensive line, but the defense was incredible. And just like I think the Eagles, their defense could possibly carry them, even if their offense stays a little bit, kind of hit and miss. Man, the Texans, that defense is salty. I think that's a game. I mean, again, I want them all to be good. I'm not sold on that game being very good.
Some context, Joe, to your question earlier about the Panthers being double-digit dogs against the Rams. Let's see. The Saints were 10-point favorites against Seattle during the Beastquake touchdown.
Yeah, Seattle won that game. Yeah.
And Seattle won.
Yeah.
So they came back. So I don't know. Maybe there's a chance there for Carolina.
So is that the only one you found?
Double digits, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of.
That's a great example of the home team shocking everybody and still winning that game against Drew Brees and a loaded Saints team.
Yeah. Other than that, it's hard to find too many. There's Broncos, the Tebow one to Demaryius Thomas, I believe, might have also been that. Pretty big spread on that one, 7.5 points. But I don't see too many double digits.
It'll be interesting to see what Carolina does this weekend in that game.
They beat the Rams, by the way, already.
They
just
did.
for the record.
They did.
So
we'll see.
Let's hope. Let's hope it's a game.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Final thoughts on the Titans coaching search. Final thoughts on the Ty Simpson situation that we discussed earlier in the show. We'll get back into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Final segment of the day. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Joe, we played some comments earlier in the show from Chris Lowe that have made their waves across Vol Twitter and across college football. This is what Chris Lowe had to say on the Ty Simpson front on the Rocky Top Insider Lowdown show with Bob Bakersville and himself. This is Chris Lowe on what the future could hold for Ty Simpson.
But I also don't think you want to go into next year playing a kid who's never played. And granted, McIntyre's been on campus for a year. I still think physically he needs to get bigger and stronger. So I think without question, Tennessee's combing the portal for a quarterback. And the one that's most intriguing, and Bama fans and Tennessee fans are going to sit up straight when I say this, is Ty Simpson. I do not believe Ty Simpson will be back at Alabama next year. I think he's gone. I think it's either he's going to the pros and going, entering the draft, or I think he's going to go into the portal. Now Ty's been around for a while. He's a pretty savvy kid. His dad, Jason's as a coach. So they're not going to do anything without talking to the right people and talking to people who know. I think most importantly, Bob, a Tennessee kid who I think was interested in coming to Tennessee. There was that transition between Pruitt and Heupel, so it was sort of a weird time. I think there were other times during his career at Alabama where he might have thought about transferring, and Tennessee was in his thoughts. It just didn't happen. But I think this time, if he doesn't decide to transfer, and I think the thing his decision in my mind will hinge on simply this: if he gets the kind of feedback from pro people that he is a first-round draft pick, I think he's gone. I think he'll go to the NFL. And you know what? He probably should. He got hit a lot. He took a lot of hits, got hit a lot, and this was his 4th year on campus. If he gets from NFL GM scouts, yeah, you're the 3rd quarterback in the draft, we think you're going to go somewhere between 15 and 25, I think he's gone. If that feedback, Bob, is not that emphatic about, well, maybe you slide into the 2nd round, then I think he's going to look seriously at transferring. And I think if he does, I think he lands at Tennessee.
So that was Chris Lowe, Joe. Obviously, some interesting stuff there on the Ty Simpson front. We kind of bounced back and forth some different thoughts on that earlier in the show. There's the Keelan Russell situation at Alabama with being a highly touted 5-star quarterback. There's Simpson and his own future in terms of the NFL, which has not been decided yet. And as Lowe points out there, if he's first-round pick, probably would make sense for him to just go ahead and go to the NFL when you look at the whole picture right now. But, I mean, Chris Lowe said it. He said, if it's not the NFL, he doesn't think he's going back to Alabama, and that Tennessee would be the spot that Chris Lowe would have Simpson at for next year, which obviously has made its waves on Vol Twitter. So, Joe, when you hear all that, when you look at the Ty Simpson situation, what do you think about where this thing is right now?
Yeah, I might put it like 80-20 NFL. I think I don't know if he's going to get that the assurance that Chris Lowe laid out there. I think if he did get that, like, you're the 3rd guy, and so you're back half of the 1st round almost for sure. I think that's a gimme. He's gone. I think it's possible that just being even if it's like you're going to be a high 2nd round at worst, he might still go. But look, I mean, you got Chris Lowe. I mean, I'm sold on him not going to Alabama or not coming back to Alabama. And apparently, the Keelan Russell thing is the primary factor there. I think it's crazy if Kalen DeBoer is just like, yeah, we got to go to Keelan next year. If Ty Simpson would want to come back. Now, remember also a couple things we talked about earlier. One, you don't want to lose Keelan Russell. That's a reality. If you think he's that special a talent, but also, like, if you're Kalen DeBoer, can you afford another 4-loss season next year?
Right.
At Alabama? Now, but the flip side of that, if you're Kalen DeBoer, you're also looking at Ty Simpson. It's like, okay, more likely than not, he is going to the NFL. So I have to focus on the next guy, right? That's where it gets in when you have somebody who's not totally sure on one thing, and then it gets in. Sometimes the other side has to be like, okay, well, I just have to commit to this other direction. And if that's the case, you look at all the quarterbacks who are already signing up at other places, and it's there's not many spots I can think of that would make sense. Josh Heupel built a relationship with the family after the whole thing with Jeremy Pruitt. Jason Simpson was going to go be the QB coach under Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt's like, hold on now. And, the NCAA is on my ass. And, basically that was that. So Jason stayed as UT Martin's head coach. But Josh Heupel built a relationship. You listen to Lowe in that clip, you can tell, because I know there were a couple times Simpson nearly transferred, that Tennessee was probably a prominent possibility. We also know Tennessee and Vanderbilt and Alabama are all recruiting Graham Simpson, little brother who's going to be a big-time prospect. Look, if I'm 80-20, most of that 20 is probably Tennessee. I mean, that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. And again, I would assume that we're going to find out here pretty shortly on the Ty Simpson front in terms of what his future kind of looks like here. And Joe, if it's not Simpson, I mean, they're running out of options in the transfer portal when it comes to quarterback right now. I mean, most of these guys have found new deals and or are in the process of negotiating new deals in the portal right now. And your quarterback room at the moment for next year is Faison Brandon and George McIntyre. The Joey Aguilar thing is still kind of up in the air. But look, I don't know how to assign a percentage to it. My guess was it's pretty low that Aguilar is going to be back next year for them at quarterback. So if it's not Simpson, you start to wonder who in the world the target could be for Tennessee in the transfer portal.
Yeah, there aren't too many options out there. I've mentioned Aiden Childs, but again, that's a flawed player, talented, but not close to like Ty Simpson and what he's demonstrated.
By the way, Byron Brown just committed to Auburn, so that's not a surprise
go.
there. But there's another one where he goes from South Florida and follows goalish to Auburn.
Yeah, and if he wasn't going to, then obviously he's played in this offense, so that would have made sense. And by the way, I've seen some people ask this. I'm sorry, all due respect to Joey Aguilar. Like if Ty Simpson wants to come play for you, then even Joey Aguilar gets. Yeah, Joey, you want to be the backup, or compete, sure, but that's just Josh Heupel's not in a position right now to be, rewarding someone for their loyalty. He's got to win.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll have you covered all day long here on 1025 The Game. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow there on Robby and Rexrode.